Federal judges temporarily blocked efforts in Texas, Alabama, and Ohio to ban abortions during the coronavirus pandemic. These rulings came in response to lawsuits from Planned Parenthood and other abortion facilities. A growing number of states are banning all elective medical procedures, including abortion, during the pandemic. It's an effort to conserve protective medical gear, such as masks and gloves, and reserve them for COVID-19 cases. But Planned Parenthood is suing in multiple states and arguing abortion is a necessary and time-sensitive medical procedure. On Monday, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a brief in a U.S. District Court to enforce Texas's executive order on the issue. Because before the federal judge's ruling, there were reportedly abortion facilities that continue to commit abortions and use up personal protective equipment. And joining us now is Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton himself. He joins us now from Dallas, Texas. Thank you for being here. First off, what does this federal judge ruling mean for Texas's abortion ban during the coronavirus pandemic?
So let me clarify, it's not actually an abortion ban, it's a ban on elective procedures, which also includes abortion. It includes orthopedic surgeries, it includes dental procedures, it includes dermatological procedures, it includes all kinds of elective procedures. They are not being singled out, they are just being treated like everybody else. So the judge's ruling merely means we're going to the Fifth Circuit, which we're not surprised. We figured either way we were going to the Fifth Circuit.
Given the federal judge's ruling on this case this week, can you clarify what are the next steps when it means going to the Fifth Circuit? What's going to happen next?
So we're appealing the district court's decision yesterday, blocking us from implementing the executive order by our governor, Governor Greg Abbott, which has a legitimate purpose of making sure that these elective procedures stop so that people can be treated for the coronavirus and other life-threatening illnesses, and that the equipment that's needed for those procedures is saved for people that are truly in need.
And can you walk us through Texas Governor Greg Abbott's order? How was it designed to help conserve medical supplies during this pandemic?
So by targeting elective procedures, which again, across the board elective procedures, anything that is not critical to somebody's health or critical to saving their lives had to be stopped. And it was designed because these personal protection equipment are used across all types of different elective procedures. And so we're trying to conserve those because there's a shortage of them, and conserve resources like hospital beds and even the focus of doctors' times. So we're in a very unusual period of time. There's all kinds of unusual things happening, and this was something that our governor and I think other governors across the country determined would be something that could be used to save people's lives. And so we didn't want anybody treated any differently, and apparently Planned Parenthood and the abortion providers feel like they should be given an exception to how other people and other providers are being treated.
There are a lot of misconceptions going around right now on this. Abortion activists have accused states like Texas, who have these types of orders which are banning elective procedures, including abortion, during the pandemic, of targeting abortion clinics. But as you've said, these abortion facilities are not actually singled out, were they? Can you clarify that?
No, absolutely. It applies to everyone. What they are actually asking to be singled out to be treated better than everybody else during this crisis. And so potentially they could be doing elective abortions, and those resources could otherwise be used to save somebody's life, somebody that has coronavirus or who has some other life-threatening illness. And so they're basically saying we want to continue making our money, we want to continue to provide abortions electively at the expense of potentially life-saving treatment for other people. That, to me, is just wrong.
Planned Parenthood's acting president has called the Texas order an exploitation of a crisis. What do you make of that depiction?
Those are just words. He or she can read the words of the executive order. They do not target any particular provider. They treat everyone the same. And Planned Parenthood is hiding under these words and asking basically that they be treated, that they have some special treatment and potentially use resources that otherwise could be used to save somebody's life.
Do you have any words you want to share with other attorney generals in other states who may be considering similar action as Texas?
I would encourage them to go forward with this. It's an appropriate use of state government action. They would have to obviously operate under their own laws and statutes, but if their law allows for this, and the governor has put down an executive order similar to ours, I would encourage them to go forward. I think in the end we're going to be successful, because I think in the end we're right, and that these governors have a right to do what they need to do to save people's lives.
Well, we will continue to monitor this case. Thank you so much for joining us, and please stay safe. Ken Paxton, Texas Attorney General.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
For Pro-Life Reaction and Analysis, we're joined now by Mallory Quigley. She's the Vice President of Communications for the Susan B. Anthony List and joins us via Skype. First off, Mallory, what is your message to Planned Parenthood right now as they continue to challenge these state bans during the coronavirus pandemic?
Planned Parenthood is the ones that are trying to capitalize on this crisis, Catherine. They are seeking every opportunity they can to expand the access of abortion on demand, and to especially push chemical abortion, which is really troubling during this time, because it could potentially result in women ending up in the hospital at a time when our healthcare system is already overburdened. Mm-hmm. So we just want them to do what the Attorney General Paxton said, and comply with this order, which isn't targeting them. It's going after all people who are providing elective surgeries. I mean, if dentists and other medical professionals can hit pause on their operations for now, so that we can rally as a nation around this pandemic and the people that are on the front lines fighting it, then we ought to do so. And abortion isn't healthcare. It's certainly not essential healthcare.
Mallory, in this Texas lawsuit, Planned Parenthood claims they don't use much personal protective equipment. But then some Planned Parenthood facilities are asking for donations for masks and hand sanitizer and other materials for them to use. What is going on here?
Right. Yeah, well, I think this is the abortion industry lying through their teeth, trying to play both sides. First off, if they're not using personal protective equipment, that doesn't speak very well to what they think of their employees and considering their safety. And then, Planned Parenthood in Los Angeles, Planned Parenthood Keystone in Pennsylvania, sending out these emails begging for donations of gloves and masks. Listen, Catherine, we've talked about this before. I told you my sister, she's a nurse here in the Washington, D.C. area, and she's told me about the real shortage that exists in our nation's hospitals for basic equipment like masks and gloves. Mm-hmm. And she's got to carry her N95 mask around with her at all times, because when she responds to an emergency happening elsewhere across the hospital, she's on the stat and the code teams, there might not be personal protective equipment there for her where she's going. So this is a really troubling time, and Planned Parenthood needs to play their part and chip into this shortage of PPE that we're facing as a country.
Well, your sister and all healthcare workers are the heroes right now. And Mallory, I want to clarify something while I have you. In the Texas executive order that's being challenged, Texas banned, quote, any type of abortion that is not medically necessary to preserve the life or health of the mother. But Mallory, can you clarify, abortion is never medically necessary?
Right. Yeah. More than 1,000 medical professionals, including I think half of that are obstetricians and gynecologists. And the Dublin Declaration said that abortion is never medically necessary. There is a very distinct difference between the intentional taking of a human life and life-saving care for a mother that may result as a secondary effect the death of her unborn child, which of course is very tragic, but there's a very distinct difference. But the abortion procedure is never medically necessary.
Just real quick, Mallory, in addition to Texas, where else are we seeing governors taking similar action here?
Yeah, it's really been encouraging to see pro-life governors stepping up in Ohio and Texas, Tennessee, Iowa, Louisiana. It's been a bipartisan effort on the part of governors who are saying we need to protect the most vulnerable. That includes not only obviously the unborn and the people who are suffering from coronavirus and those that are taking care of them and putting in orders like this.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and please continue to stay safe. Mallory Quigley, Vice President of Communications for the Susan B. Anthony List.
Thanks, Catherine.